The icy wind sliced through the streets of London, but the royal guard stood unmoving outside Buckingham Palace, their crimson coats vivid against the dull sky. Among them was William Carter, a man defined by discipline and unwavering resolve. For a decade he had served with silent pride, embodying an unbreakable code of duty and tradition. Then, one day, everything changed. It began as a faint sound, almost lost to the howling wind. A child's cry. At first, William dismissed it. The Queen's Guard was trained to ignore distractions, remaining statuesque in all circumstances. But the cry grew louder, more desperate. His fingers curled inside his white gloves. Then he saw her. A little girl, no older than 6, stood at the palace gates, her tiny hands gripping the iron bars. Tears streaked her pale cheeks, and the wind tangled her golden hair. The crowd bustled around her, oblivious. Tourists took pictures, guards stood indifferent, and the world moved on. But William couldn't. His training demanded stillness. His conscience urged otherwise. Then the girl's voice broke through the cold air. "Please, someone help my mummy." William's heart pounded. His superior remained motionless, eyes fixed forward. The choice was his. For the first time in 10 years, William moved. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Camera shutters snapped. The Queen's Guard never broke formation, until now. He stepped forward, boots clicking against the stone path, and knelt before the girl. "What happened to your mother?" he asked gently. The child hiccuped through her sobs. "She fell. She won't wake up." She pointed to a woman slumped on a nearby bench, her body eerily still. William's pulse quickened. Without hesitation, he turned. "Carter, stand down!" his commanding officer barked. But William didn't. Breaking every rule, he rushed past the gates. The murmurs of the crowd swelled to shocked whispers as he reached the woman's side. Her breathing was shallow, her skin cold. A quick check confirmed a faint pulse. Severe hypoglycemia. If he hadn't acted, she might not have survived. "Medic!" William bellowed, his deep voice slicing through the air. A palace medic rushed over. The tension among the guards was palpable. As the paramedics took over, the woman was stabilized and swiftly taken away. William turned back to his post, but the damage was done. His superior's jaw was clenched. "Inside! Now!" The disciplinary hearing was swift and severe. "You know what you did was unacceptable," the officer said coldly. The Queen's Guard does not move for distractions. William sat rigid, fists clenched. Ignoring a dying woman isn't honor. Silence. His fate was sealed. Effective immediately, you are suspended from duty. Stripped of his post, William walked out of the palace. His head was high, but his heart was heavy. Had he done the right thing? Would history remember him as a disgrace, or as a man who stood for something greater? He didn't have to wait long for an answer. The next morning, the newspapers exploded. Royal Guard breaks 300-year rule to save a life. A true hero, the Guard who chose humanity over tradition. Public support poured in. Parents called him an inspiration. Soldiers debated the balance of duty and compassion. Millions demanded justice. Days later, a letter arrived, a royal summons. Standing before the Queen's advisers, William expected reprimand. Instead, an elder official spoke. "His Majesty recognizes your moral courage. Tradition is vital, but so is the value of human life. Your suspension is lifted." William exhaled sharply. Then came the unexpected words. "His Majesty wishes to commend you personally." When William stepped into Buckingham Palace's Grand Hall, the Queen regarded him with quiet intensity. "You upheld not only duty, but humanity," she said. "That is the kind of service that truly protects a nation." Tears burned behind his eyes, but he held his composure. Policies within the Royal Guard shifted. Protocols were revised, allowing discretion in emergencies. And William Carter? He returned to his post outside Buckingham Palace, his stance as firm as ever. But now, when a child passed by, eyes wide with admiration, he allowed himself the smallest of smiles. For he had not just guarded a palace, he had inspired a nation. And that, above all, was the highest honor.